Hey Insiders, we've got a very special guest joining us here today who's recently just graduated from our flagship course, Life Mastery Achievers. She's going to be coming on here today to share how she honestly found the whole experience and everything else in between. So just diving right in, if you wouldn't mind just telling us your name and where it is that you're currently based in the world.
Liam. My name is Marlena Coombe, and I'm currently in Wyoming at the moment in the USA. Um,
Beautiful. Lovely to have you with us. Thanks for showing up. Looks like a beautiful day behind you there. Marlena,
it
thanks so
is.
much for giving us your time to come on, share a little story about LMA. And I guess diving right into it, I'm just curious to know, what would you say was the biggest problem or struggle that you were currently facing in your life prior to joining the LMA course?
Hmm. The biggest problem that I was facing was I was on a course all by myself. I was doing my own healing process and stuff like that from October of 2022. And I had just gotten to a point where I was plateauing. And I knew that to get to the next level of where I wanted to be at in life, I had to find something. And it just so happened Tim's advertisement came on. And just watching Tim, I really connected with what he was saying. Um, but what really got me to dive in with LMA and with you guys in general was the fact that Tim was so real.
Mhm.
Like, he brought his experiences to the table, and you could really sense his emotions, his feelings, and it stirred something up inside of me that was like, this guy is legit. He's not a fake person. He's real. He cares about people. And so, yeah,
Beautiful.
that was my starting journey.
Beautiful. And before coming on board LMA, what was your main concern, if you had any, that like may have prevented you from buying the LMA program? And what did you do to put those fears to rest and to step forward in faith and join us?
Well, like, as people get into the LMA courses and stuff, Tim talks about how when you're about to do something, like step out of your comfort zone, your fear rises up inside of you. And that's kind of what happened. But instead of letting the fear take over, I told myself, you know what, this is what you're supposed to do. You have to get into something like this. And no matter how scary it is, I kind of literally had told the fear, you know what, you are not allowed to come in on this right now. This is what's best for me, and I'm not going to listen to you. And so normally I don't dive in head first. I kind of wade into the water, so to say, and I dove right in.
Wow. And Marlena, what would you say surprised you the most or made you happiest about experiencing the LMA program?
How everybody is just, you guys have been so kind and so real, so genuine, and there's no judgment whatsoever. Like, when you were doing coaching sessions with me, there was absolutely no judgment. I could come to you and just kind of tell you everything that was going on. So you guys provided like a safety place, a safe place for people to come in and talk about whatever was going on in their lives, what they were dealing with. And I mean, week 2 was like what I call my hell week. And if it wasn't for you keeping me sane, Liam, I don't know what would have happened. So I'm so grateful to
Oh,
you for that. And I'm so grateful for Tim and the rest of the team too. Everybody is so amazing. I've met pretty much everybody, and they're just amazing people, just so real, down to earth. Just, you guys bring love and light for sure.
oh, we appreciate that. That's so lovely to hear. And specifically for you then, Marlena, what would you say has been the biggest benefit for you in your life that you've experienced from the LMA program?
So, one of my biggest issues was that I didn't trust people. Totally didn't trust people. It's getting better now, but it's still a work in progress, of course, for all the work in progress, right? But that was the biggest thing, was it was getting really bad to the point where I wasn't even trusting my 11-year-old, and it was getting kind of scary. And I kept having to push past those fears. And it wasn't until the LMA program, understanding what was really going on, that a lot of, well, for me, I was working through a lot of trauma. And week 2, that's why it was so bad for me, because I was working through a lot of internal abuse, trauma, mental, physical, all of it. And some of it were so buried deep that I didn't even know it existed. And if it wasn't for the LMA program helping me through it and helping me understand it and finding what I like to call my metaphorical tools to put in my metaphorical toolbox, if I didn't have those tools, things wouldn't be registering, triggering in my mind, as things were popping up, where I could be like, hey, I see that pattern. um, okay, now I know what to do with it, because hey, I have this tool to help me. So, and then of course too, I had you, where I kept messaging you, and like I said, even though you weren't able to message me back right away, it was just the comfort knowing that there was somebody positive on the other line, that when you did read those messages, you would send me positive things back, or shoot me a voice clip or something like that with nothing but positivity. That really helped me keep going.
Wow, beautiful. And wrapping up here, getting close to the end, another question I wanted to ask you was, how would you summarize Tim as like a teacher, facilitator, or trainer? Like, what would you say about Tim?
Out of a lot of coaching stuff that I've seen throughout the years and whatnot, Tim's like the ultimate best. He's like best of the best. Okay. there's like nobody above Tim at this point, except for Source himself. But 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 here on Earth, Tim is like, the closest thing that you get to that. And just his experiences alone and what he brings to the table, it's like, it's so crazy, because I remember telling you, it's almost like he could read my mind, and it was kind of freaky, but it was amazing at the same time, because it was like, oh my gosh, I'm dealing with this today. How did he know that? But hey, he went through it too. And then he just kind of perfected, you know, his life in a sense, to where he could help other people get to where they need to be at too. And so he's one of the best coaches that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I mean, I may look really young, but I am 43. So if that tells
Never,
you anything.
never, never. And Marlena, just like final question, right? Like, obviously I've known you since we've been working through this whole process, LMA. What advice from your heart would you give to people who really want LMA? They want to change their life, but they're sitting on the fence. They haven't made that decision. What would you say to them in your own words from the heart? Let us know.
Me personally, I've been one of those people my whole life. And like I said, if they would just listen to Tim and really take in what he's saying, what he's talking about, even his emotions and his feelings, they would realize that he's the legit person to go with. And for me personally, everything that I've seen through this journey, Tim has a really amazing heart of gold. Maybe other people don't see it, but I do, because I'm kind of the same way too. And it takes one to know one, right? But if people would just really listen to his words and take it in, they would realize there's more to Tim than what meets the eye. And he's willing to give up a lot of his time, that is extremely valuable to him, to bring more attention to people and to help them get through their journey. So I would say, don't wade in the water on this. Jump in, dive in, because you are not going to regret it. I promise. You're not going to regret it at all.